Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. Today is continuing our discussion on anime from the winter 2016 season and using them in your BESM games. This episode, it's a review again. I'm going to review 3 more animes, and the next one right after this, I'll talk about using them in your BESM games. So the 3 I'm going to go over today are BBK/BRNK, I'll explain that one in a second, Luck and Logic, and Norn 9. So let's start with Norn 9. So Norn 9 takes place in this sort of near future where all these people that have assembled actually from time are getting together on this strange ship. Now, our story revolves around Koharu. She's a girl that originally, when they meet her, doesn't remember her past, doesn't even remember her name, and eventually starts getting hints and pieces together of who she was. Now, all the people on this ship have a special power. Koharu has one too. They get into the past of like how that affected her life before she came to the ship. Now, all these people are on this ship called the Norn, which is effectively this gigantic floating globe which sort of travels around. And of course they go on various adventures. They have to deal with other people attacking that have powers in and of themselves, the drama of their own abilities and how they've affected their pasts, and how much they want to like get into dealing with each other and like revealing stuff to each other. It has a lot of drama to the series, so that's why we'll get into the genres. I would call it a sci-fi series. It involves time travel. It involves a gigantic flying ship sphere. It involves, that these things are very sci-fi in nature. Granted, it is a very soft sci-fi. It's not the like crazy ship battles in space or space-based things, or really like a far ahead future. It almost feels like it's a future not far from our own, except it has this ship. Now, I would also call it a fantasy too. These people all have basically supernatural powers or abilities that they use. So it's sort of like it's a sci-fi fantasy is the best way to describe it. That is technically a genre, but I wanted to use the 2 separately. Now, I would also call it a drama, as I was speaking about a little earlier. Koharu had a dark past. After the father figure basically went away from her, she was mistreated by the people of the village because of her power. People feared her in her past, and she sort of remembers some of this stuff, which is very traumatic things. And all the characters sort of have these like darkness in their own pasts that they're trying to escape from when coming to this ship. So let's talk about Luck and Logic. So Luck and Logic, the basic setting is it's that the year LC 922. It was the end of a 100-year war in the world of Tetrahaven. Now, after this war ended in Tetrahaven, the losing side, the Majin, decided to escape that world and of course came to the human world. Now, logicalists are people that are actually recruited by the government to fight against these invaders. They actually have the ability to sort of join their powers with goddesses from the other world. That these goddesses have come to basically help keep control of the invaders. They got away from that world. They're invading our world, so these goddesses are here to help capture them. And so they join their powers with the logicalists in order for them to be able to fight the invader. When they join together, they gain incredible superpowers. Now, Yoshichika is our main character. This man had been a former logicalist, and he had actually lost his the power to basically bond with a goddess in a previous battle, and he sort of retired with his father and sister, and he meets with Athena, a goddess, and she actually brings back his logic to him, and sort of the two of them bond, and it ends up being returning to the battlefield is what he does. He sort of returns to the battlefield because of this, and the adventures continue. Now, this is an action one. They have battles between, the invaders and themselves. They're bonding with their they're using their logics to bond with the goddesses and sort of battle it out against them. It's very action heavy. It's definitely got a sci-fi feel to it because it looks like to be a future of ours. It's set in like a little time in the future almost. And the thing is, their powers always seem to have this sort of technology basis to it. It feels very technology heavy, even though it's also then has a fantasy feel to it, similar to the last series I talked about, that it kind of mixes sci-fi and fantasy. The idea of it, because these are supposed to be goddesses, which seem almost mythological and seem to be having like powers, but they've got this almost sort of like fantasy sci-fi feeling to it, because it doesn't feel just like a normal, like, oh, they're using some kind of magic powers or something. It feels almost like technology-based magic, almost, I guess you could call it. Very interesting that way. Now, I forgot to mention, because I am silly, that all three of these series, I rate them 3. I'm going to give it out there right now. They're all rated 3. So they're pretty decent series. They're not the highest on my list, but they're ones I tried to finish up when I had the chance to. So let's move on to the next one, BBK/BRNK, or BBK/BRNK. It's a mouthful, and both of them are mouthfuls. Thank you. So our story focuses around Azuma, who lives on this place called Treasure Island that flies thousands of feet above the earth. So it basically floats thousands of feet above. There are BRNK on this island, which are sort of giant giant robot sentinels, and all of them are asleep. So in our first episode, they begin to wake up. So Azuma's mother basically takes him, his sister, and the father, and sends them down to Earth to protect them. Our series skips you 10 years in the future then, where we're in Shinjuku, but it's a post-apocalyptic Shinjuku, because what happened just with that on Treasure Island pretty much helped destroy the world a little more. You know, we learn that sort of like that may have been the result of what may have helped cause this destruction across the world. You know, this sort of bad things happened. Anyway, the authorities discover him and go after him, and he's saved by his childhood friend who's wielding a BBK, a sentient weapon. And he then learns that his childhood friend and her group of associates, they can use him, who has the heart of Obu, an item that he sort of inherited from his mother. With that and combined, they can resurrect Obu, effectively like their own sort of BRNK that they can control. One that his mother had used to sort of keep the BRNK in line on Treasure Island, but he has it down here. So they go on an adventure, you know, learning a little bit about them, competing with people that have BBKs, other teams that may be able to summon BRNK the same, and they're on this mission to sort of learn the secrets of Treasure Island, on what happened and what's going on, because all of them have had, you know, pretty messed up lives to a good degree because of things like their BBKs. They also learn about the mysterious figure Ryoko's tyranny over Japan and her own BRNK Entei. So the genres of the series, of course, is a mecha genre, I would definitely call it. The BRNK are mechas. I mean, there are ones that are sort of on their own, sort of rampaging kind of things, and of course then there are teams there are people that can control other ones themselves. Like Ryoko controls one on her own, while Azuma and his friends that he earns control Obu on combined together. So that's why I kind of almost call it then a post-apocalyptic too. It's showing a very dark future of the world where like the BRNK have caused so much destruction on the world. He starts in a post-apocalyptic Shinjuku. It's in terrible condition. A lot of the world is in very bad condition. People are still there. It's probably not like the end of the world sort of thing, but it's sort of society has crushed down to a good degree, and things are pretty terrible. I would also call it like almost not quite a Sentai, but a team as a genre. A Sentai is very like, you know, Power Rangers, but it's also got a common theme of the team sort of anime, the team sort of group. This one, it is a team-based group, that they're a team of players that come together and have to do things as a group. It revolves around them working as a team is the thing. So I would harken to something more like a Voltron. That's a team of people coming together for, you know, to combine their abilities in some kind of way. Again, it's also a giant robot, but similarities. So that's it for today. I talked about these 3 anime, Norn 9, Luck and Logic, and BBK/BRNK. I gave some review of them. I talked about their genres. I rated them. In the next episode, I will tell you about how to use them in your BESM game. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like this video if you enjoyed. It shows your support for the channel, for the Empire, and my work. Please subscribe if you already haven't. We're always looking for more members, more citizens. It's another way of showing your support. And please share this video. If you know anyone that would learn anything from watching this video or would just enjoy watching it, please share it with them. And until the next time,
I bid you farewell.